Good morning, Mark Williams, mwpersonaltrainer.com. Today's video is about obesity. I've done a quick Google of obesity this morning and come up with some rather interesting findings. So, first of all, Sky News and doctors now want to have obesity classed as an illness. Well, let's see the wood through the trees on that one and let's give it a little bit of thought before we start offering out excuses and making people feel a little bit more comfortable with it. Let's just get the truth out there and start helping people, because it's not an illness. It's not, we don't suddenly become struck down with obesity. It's a recurring combination of a lack of movement or exercise and a poor diet, whether that's overeating, binge eating, too much processed food, whatever. Either way, somewhere in that magical formula of diet and exercise, imbalance has come in, and that is where obesity has come from. So let's not, sort of throw pity down on people and let them think that they've been struck down and they're just unfortunate and they've got this illness. It's not an illness, it's a condition that we've created as people, and just as easily we can solve that problem by using the correct formula of diet and exercise, stroke movement, to ridicule it. There's never going to be a pill that is going to combat obesity. Therefore, it's not an illness. It is a condition, a man-made condition. Next one is an interesting one. So, doctors are now claiming that the B.M.I test is too complicated to use as a tool in managing obesity. Well, again, if we talk about it, well, let's not actually, because the less said about the B.M.I test, the better. If we look at it, we'll see that it's not a complicated tool to use. It's just an inadequate tool to use. It just doesn't work. So, I am 6'2", so 187, and my weight is 95. So, if I follow the B.M.I test, 187 times 187 gives me roughly 3.5. My weight is 95, so 95 divided by 3.5 gives me somewhere around 27, which tells me that I'm pre-obese. And by the normal ranges on the B.M.I test, I would need to lose 15 kilos, or it's telling me, to become normal and come out of the pre-obese category and come into the normal range. I would need to lose 15 kilos of body weight. Well, I haven't been 15 kilos lighter than what I am now since I was about 17, maybe even longer than that. So my weight has been constant over the years, somewhere, ranging between 92 and 98, somewhere in that range, depending on what's happening with my training. So it just doesn't work. I'm not in the shape that I was 20 years ago, granted. However, I'm far from pre-obese. So let's get people, doctors, the government, to just completely get rid of that tool and let's bring in something that works. Body fat calipers, for example, again, not 100% accurate, but it doesn't need to be, but it just needs to be a valid tool that works and shows people whether they're getting worse or getting better, and not telling them that they're in the wrong category, because if you have a test and you're told that you're in the wrong category, then there's a fault with it right from the outset. And one that's telling me that I need to lose 15 kilos of weight to become normal is definitely one that doesn't work, and actually it's dangerous, because I'd probably be very, very ill if I tried to lose 15 kilos of weight. So the next one that came up was a doctor named Dr. Harkham asking what caused obesity and how can we combat it? Well, that's simple. What has caused it is people eating processed foods, people eating wrong balance in their diet, people eating too much food, sometimes people eating too little food as well, which is never looked at. Everyone looks at people who are obese and says, oh, they must stuff themselves stupid to get like that. It's not always the case. I've worked with a lot of people who've been quite overweight, and actually when you look at what they're eating, you can see that they're trying to lose fat, and it's not working, because undereating sometimes is just as much of a problem in obesity as overeating. So it's not always that, but what has caused it? Imbalance in the diet, processed food, too much sugar for starters. I mean, that's and nailed on one. Everyone now eats too much sugar, and a lack of movement exercise. And again, we're not talking about becoming gym athletes, you know, world champions in CrossFit. We're just talking about getting moving, going to the gym, doing some movement, even not even going to the gym. You don't need to go to the gym, but just getting moving and bringing some activity back into your normal life. Okay, so getting on to the next finding, the government want to put a sugar tax on sugary drinks. Well, great. So in the midst of the country allegedly being in the midst of an obesity crisis, let's do nothing else other than try and make some money out of it. Good job, okay? Because let's face it, some people out there drink sugary drinks and they're not obese. So why should they face a sugar tax? Just doesn't stack up, does it? And anyway, I've never had, in all my years of training people and helping people to lose fat, I've never had anyone come to me and say, yeah, it's time for me to go on a diet plan. Why is that? Well, because the price of Coke's gone up. It's not that. It's just not working. Get the right information out there and tell people, give them the tools to make progress and bring themselves out of this condition. Show them where they're going wrong and get the right information out there, because the right information is not out there wherever you look. All right, another interesting point. So supermarkets allegedly are now being blamed for the way that they lay out their store and for the foods that they stock in their store. Well, again, why penalise people who don't have a problem? And if you have a supermarket, why not lay it out exactly how you want it? How does that? It doesn't affect me, how I go shopping. If I go shopping, I don't set out with the intention of buying A, B, C, D and E, and then because of the layout in the supermarket coming out with F, G, H and I. I just don't do that. So I don't think anyone does, and I don't think people are coming out of the supermarkets with the foods that they're coming out with because of the layout. And until, you can't blame the supermarkets until you turn up at the supermarket and they say to you, there you go sir, or madam, there's your groceries for the week. Go away and eat that. When you have nothing else, come back and we'll give you some more. Okay? Because that's them making the choice of the foods that you take from there. So when they do that, if you become obese, then fine. Then we can point at the supermarkets and say they have contributed to the obesity crisis. But we walk into the store, we walk around the store of our own free will, we put whatever we want into our baskets, and we leave after paying. Some of us don't. But we've made our own choices and we've walked out with the food that we want to eat. So how is that the fault of the supermarket? It just doesn't stack up. It's just people sitting there and going, who shall we blame? Let's blame them. Let's not take any responsibility ourselves. Let's just blame someone else. Doesn't work. Cancer Research came up with the plan to ban junk food advertisements. Well, again, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's going to help in the slightest. Why? I don't think people come home at night and say to each other, what shall we eat tonight? And they say, let's think, why don't we turn on TV and see what gets advertised and we'll have that. I just don't think it does. You know, people will eat the foods that they want to eat when they want to eat them. And that's the way it is. So whatever is on TV and whatever's being advertised, it's, again, you have your free will. It's not a case of you see the advert so you have to eat it. No one's under that pressure. People are making the choices that they're making because a lack of education, a lack of knowledge out there, a lack of information, and this is what's contributing it, because people don't understand it. People don't understand how they should lay out foods. You know, I've dealt with people over the years who, if I say to them, can you classify protein, carbohydrate and fat into foods? They have no idea. They don't know which foods fall into which category. So how can you then be responsible for putting your own foods together in the right orders and in the right amounts and plating food? It's just, we have to get that information out there, and it has to be better. And there has to be a link up between health professionals, fitness professionals, marketing, the government. Everything has to come together so that everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet, and we're not all being lured into these fake, unbalanced diets that just don't work. Okay? Your food intake for the week should be made up from protein, carbohydrates and fat. Any one diet plan that limits any of those groups or takes any of them out is just not going to work. Sure, some of them will work and help you to shift weight quickly, but what weight you're losing is something that you need to consider. And then what's going to happen when you stop following that plan, because it's undoable, because you cannot stick to that. There's no longevity in the plan. It's just impossible for you to stay on that plan for your whole life. And what happens when you come off it? That's the problem, rebounds. So I came across a stat from the World Health Organization that since 1980, obesity has doubled. Well, that's great. Why do we need to know that? Sure it has, I'm sure it has, and guess what? If we don't do anything about it, in 10 years' time, it will double again now, because the people that are out there pumping their kids full of this crap food, it's just going to keep going and going and going until the shape shift of people, we just don't look like how we're designed to look and how we look now. We will change and we will alter. And there'll become a new demographic of what people look like. So, but again, the stat, all right, it's just a stat, but why do we need to promote that and push it out there? Why don't you push out some procedures to reverse the cycle that we've created of obesity? We've created it, so let's reverse it. And the foods that have been put out there and the foods that we've been encouraged to eat, that we've just started eating and we've chosen to eat, that has caused a problem, and we need to rectify that. And when we rectify that, we will reverse the cycle of obesity. And also by getting people active and encouraging people to become active, we'll also reverse it. So now on to the one that concerns me the most. Childhood obesity is now at record levels. Well, this one, for me, is a form of child abuse, because if you are a parent and your child is getting into the stages of becoming obese, that's child abuse. You need to do something about that. And if you don't know what to do, you need to find out how to solve it, okay? And I admit that when I've done it, I've Googled it, that's what this video is about. I've Googled it, the problems of it, and there's nothing out there to help people, okay? So if you are struggling, subscribe to the channel, send me a direct message, and I'll help you, okay? I'll give you the information that you need if you want to make a change. But this crisis now in kids is scary, okay? And the problem that we have now is that the health implications that come from persistently eating these diets that these kids are eating, and how it's affecting them long term, and the health implications further down the line that come in and start affecting these young adults or even sooner, it's horrific. So as parents, most of us, or all of us, we should want the best for our kids. But we seem to be in an age now where we're wrapped up with, oh, I need to get Johnny an iPhone, oh, Susie wants an iPad. They want this, that, and we're giving them this, and we're worrying that they don't have this, and they're worrying that they don't have these trainers. Meanwhile, we're taking years off their lives. It doesn't make sense. You've got to do something about that. You have to reverse that and prioritise and put all your efforts into keeping your kids healthy and sending them out into adult life able to lead a healthy life and not to be struck down by some illnesses because of the foods that you fed them through their childhood. So that has to stop. You need to work together. If you don't know how to do something about it, you need to find help. And I'm here and I will help, okay? There's going to be a lot of videos coming along showing you how to reverse the cycles of obesity and how to help your kids and the foods that you need to get them eating and just simple plans to get them moving, all right? That will all be coming at a later date. For now, just subscribe to the channel and all that information will come to you. Okay, so I came across a video following on from that, child obesity. I came across a video that was aired on this morning asking who's to blame. Well, this one's not going to make me very popular, but there's only one section of people who are to blame for childhood obesity, and that's the parents, okay? They depend on you, they're minors, they're your kids, you look after them, okay? You buy the food they eat, you prepare the food that they eat, You portion the food that they eat. Whose fault is it? It doesn't take a genius to work that out. Again, I know there are some circumstances that, you know, you can sort of sit back and say, well, there's nothing out there, I've Googled it, the right information isn't out there. The right information is out there if you look hard enough. You know, we all should know that fruit, vegetables, meats, fish is good, okay? That's what kids need, milk, okay? There's lots of good foods out there, but you know, it's become so processed now. If you look at the average diet of a kid, it would be cereal in the morning, so sugary crap, okay? Cornflakes, whatever it is, just sugary, no nutrient rubbish, really. Nothing in that, okay? And then sandwiches or burger and chips or whatever it is, and then come home and who knows, you know, they'll all come home. Of course, the kids will all come home and say, oh, can we have pizza tonight? And of course they'll say that, but you have to say no. You have to say no, you can't have pizza tonight. You know, make it a weekend thing. You know, one treat a week, but that's how it should be. I'm not saying that kids shouldn't eat sweets. They should. That's the time to grow up on sweets. We used to drink we used to eat sweets when we were kids growing up. We used to drink Coke, Pepsi, all of it, but not all day long, okay? And you all know what one ingredient foods are, okay? You give your kid tomato, you know what's in it, it's a tomato. You give your kid a can of Coke, you've no idea what's in that or how it's come to be produced, okay? You have to look at that, okay? Fruits, vegetables, whole foods, rice, potatoes, there's nothing wrong with that. Let your kids eat it, okay? They're still growing, they need more nutrients and they need the right balance. So help them, okay? It is your fault out there if you're letting your kids choose their own food. They shouldn't be. They're not old enough to make that decision. They're minors. They're dependent on you as the parent, and all this information will be coming. Subscribe to the channel. There'll be meal plans coming along in the future, exercise plans, everything to help people combat obesity, and also a lot of information on how the diet cycle works, how the body loses weight, how the body gains weight. All that information I'm going to come through on this channel so that you all know and you can see what's happened, how you've got to this condition, and how you can reverse it. All right, so getting further down the list now, I came across Piers Morgan, had an interview probably on GMTV. I didn't watch all of it, I just read the headline, and he was asking, is obesity glorified? Well, I don't think so. I just think that it's become more common now, okay? It's not, I don't see people, you know, rushing out thinking, I need to eat more because I have to become obese. It's not like that. You know, it's not glorified. There's nothing good about it. I'm not saying that we should all become stick thin either, but any condition that takes you into a situation where your health is going to be put at risk isn't good. So you can't glorify that. And I don't think it is. I just think it's become more common and it's become more of the norm. But I don't think there's anyone out there screaming from the rooftops. I think actually there's a lot of people who are struggling with it and can't find the right information out there to help them combat it. Okay, so as I said, all that information will be coming later in the channel. Just subscribe and follow along and I'll help you reverse the condition that you've got yourself into. I came across another video asking, would you send your kids to camp to lose weight? Well, how long is that going to last? Okay, let's say you send them on a 2-week course. How much weight are they going to drop on that? Let's say they went for 2 weeks and let's say they came back 4 kilos lighter. Great. And then what? You take them back to their normal diet and within a week, they put it all back on. So I don't see any point in that, okay? What you need to be doing with your kids is putting things right in the kitchen for them, okay? Making sure that they're eating good food. If they're taking snacks to school, make sure they're good snacks. Fruit, get your kids eating fruit. Also, get them drinking water. You know, I'm not saying never give your kids Coke. My kids drink Coke very rarely. When I say very rarely, maybe once my eldest will have a can of Coke maybe once a day. But if he's drinking that all day long, it's going to take an effect on him. Get your kids drinking water. Offset the bad stuff with the good stuff. Let the good stuff that your kids are eating far outweigh the bad stuff. Yes, let them have sweets as a treat. Don't let the rubbish food make up the staple of their diet. Okay? Came across another one, fat and proud. Again, I don't agree with that. I don't think there's any truth in that. I just think that's people kind of mocking the situation, you know. It's people standing back and sneering through glass houses and saying, oh, look at these fat people, you know, waddling about. It's not like that. I don't think anyone feels like that. It's a condition, again, that they've got themselves into, and they need help to get them out of it. Not that it's an illness, so don't go to the doctor about it. Subscribe to the channel, follow along, and I will help you reverse the obesity situation that you've put yourself into. Alright, GMTV also asked, are parents to blame? One word answer, yes. The bulk of the blame lays at your doorstep, okay? You need to do something about it. It starts at home. You have to make the first step yourself. There will be help out there for you, and there will be information on this channel that is going to make it easy for you to reverse the situation. But for now, it's your fault, and you have to do something about it. You can't turn around and point the finger and say, it's the government, it's the doctors, it's the supermarket. It's not. You pick the foods, you eat them. It starts at home. That's where you make the biggest change, at home. Let's make that change. Another one on Good Morning TV is oversized clothing normalizing obesity. I don't think so. I don't think that anyone rushes out and sees a dress in a size 16 or some trousers in a size 40 waist and thinks, I need to put some weight on so I can get into those. I don't think it is. There's a market for it. People have got bigger, so the clothing markets are reacting to that. They're making the clothes for these people. I mean, what do we expect? Do we expect these people to walk around in a towel or nothing in the street? It's not normalised. There's just a market for it now. And when we reverse that cycle and we take away the need for that size in clothing, guess what? You won't see it in the shops anymore. And my final one for today is obesity patients being left struggling after NHS cuts. Well, obesity is nothing to do with the NHS. It's not an illness. There's nothing they can do that you can't do for yourself. Okay? Combating obesity is done by pulling in line your nutrition and getting your body moving. Simple as that. You do not need to go to the doctors for that. You do not need to go anywhere for that. You can do both of those things in your own home. Just subscribe to the channel, follow along as we go through the weeks over this topic. All the information is going to be out there. Let's kill this crisis. Let's kill this crisis for our kids, okay? And let's send them going forward much healthier than they are today. mwpersonaltrainer.com. Subscribe today.